Is there a right or wrong? What a profound question. First and foremost, before I go on any further, I just wanted to say apologies for not being around for Sunday service this week. I made the decision on Thursday or Friday that I was going to be taking a few days off. I needed some time out just to go inwards and to just be present. I've been getting up and driving here, there and everywhere, and having to travel because I've had no internet at home. So and I just felt like I needed a break. And so interesting, I am so glad that I gave you guys the heads up that I wasn't going to be around, because I ended up being snowed in my own house anyway. So there's no way I could have done a YouTube and an Instagram live at the same time. However, I am thinking about, as long as my internet is installed on Tuesday as it should be, I am thinking about doing one in the middle of the week, just, a cheeky little connection so that we can catch up. I appreciate there are a lot of you around the world that have messaged going, oh my goodness, I've missed you. I've wanted to, we wanted to see you. Hopefully you're going to film like a live Sunday service, but like just pre-recorded. So I did put out Surrender to Your Soul in place of Sunday service. However, I will be doing an Instagram and a YouTube live at some point this week, and I will give you as much notice as I possibly can. So do keep an eye on my Instagram stories, and I will look to do that ASAP. If not, like I say, as long as my internet is back, I will be making sure that I am doing a YouTube and an Instagram live on Sunday of next week. I missed you. I really missed you. So let's talk about it. Is there a right or wrong? Now, interestingly enough, I channeled this information this morning, and I've got to be honest, I was messaging one of my girls at the time and I said, I've just channeled this information, it doesn't make much sense to me, but I've been told I've got to do a video on it. So this is said video. I've sat with it for quite a few hours, and I've allowed it to enter my cells, and it feels okay. However, please, if you've got any questions, because this is probably going to be a little bit out there, if you've got any questions, please do feel free to post them below, and I will keep an eye on the comments. So here goes. Is there a right? Is there a wrong? Now you're going to sit there and be like, of course there's a right and wrong, Lucy. Like if you punch someone in the face, that's something that's wrong to do. If you skip along and tell everyone how much you love them, that's probably a nicer thing to do. Perhaps not necessarily right, but it's a nicer thing to do. And you're absolutely right. We have had standards put into our life over the years that have basically said this is right and this is wrong. But who makes that judgment? What if your destiny, your soul contract, in the terms that I normally use, soul contract or your destiny, what if that was to come down here to planet Earth and be as disruptive as possible to awaken people to the truth behind that level of disruption? I'm going to use Wednesday the 20th of January, a super highly charged subject, as a good example for this. Now, there will be, 50%, let's say 50%, let's make it easy, 50% of the world that will be really, really happy with the result that came in on the 20th of January. There'll be a lot of people that are like, yes, the Democrats are back in charge. Yes, we're really happy about this. This is the right thing. And then there will be the other 50% of the world that literally think the world's come to an end. Oh my goodness, this is awful. This is hideous. Like, I cannot believe that this has happened. This is a situation that is wrong. Okay, so from both sides of the fence, everybody, as I've said many, many times before, from our own perspective, we are right. So blue will think it's great, red will think it's awful. Now, which is right and which is wrong? When you actually stop and think about it, neither is right and neither is wrong. It's your personal perspective, it's your personal opinion. Now, I am extremely connected to a lot of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. I've been speaking about it for many, many years. I got banned from FaceAche for talking about it. So, I feel I have a really good knowledge of what's going on around the world. Now, I've got to be honest with you, and I know a lot of people out there are like, no, that's not true. You wanted red to get in. I've got to be honest with you. I wasn't attached to the outcome. I had zero expectation around it because I knew whatever was going to happen was because humanity needs it. Do I prefer one person over the other based on the information that I have got? Yes, absolutely. But it's not my job to tell you that. It's not my job to say this is right or this is wrong. What if, like I said, somebody has come, and I, you've heard me say that I believe that Trump is a light worker, but I also believe the same of Biden. Both of them came here with a soul contract. Both of them were in a role for humanity to ascend. Whether you like them or not, it's irrelevant. If you look at what Mr. T has done, he's raised the level of consciousness on certain subjects: human trafficking, child abuse, child trafficking, the sex trafficking industry. We have catapulted the levels of consciousness on it purely because he was in the role that he was in. Now, whether you believe in it or not, whether you like him or not, the fundamental truth of the matter is the collective consciousness has been raised on that subject. So has he done a good job? Yes. Likewise, on the flip side of the fence, we've got somebody, or not we, because I'm not in America, but America now have somebody in charge who is out there saying, wars are a good thing. That they need to get the V program, like the vaccine program, out as quickly as possible. Mirroring exactly what the other side was saying. I hasten to add that. Both sides were mirroring on that, okay? So, does that mean that this person is bad or whatever? No, that's just the role that he has chosen this lifetime. Now, you may be somebody who is in recovery for drug addiction. You may be somebody who's been to prison. You may be somebody who has, had a pretty tough time, and you took a path that perhaps wasn't congruent to the path that you would like to have seen yourself on. That doesn't mean that you're wrong. It means that your soul contract, your destiny was to go down that path. It doesn't mean that at any point you can't just take a different turn and go to the light or the perceived light. I hope this is making sense to you, because when this got channeled to me this morning, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to speak about this. Like, I've literally got no clue. What we need to appreciate, where we need to be going with this, is appreciating that everybody is on their own path. Appreciating that the path that they are taking is the route that they have to take. Otherwise, they wouldn't. The world is dependent on polarity. Negative and positive charge, as I always say. There are a percentage of people on this planet that are going to choose the perceived dark path. But remember, this is all around perception and perspective. So for me personally, I see a world which is full of love and light, happiness, peace, calm, joy, free medication, self-healing. That is what I see for my future. However, there will be somebody over here that will tell me that I'm delusional. Those things do not exist, and just get over it. However, for me, that's the path that I'm choosing. It doesn't mean that I'm right. It means that that is the path that I have chosen for me this lifetime. For anybody to sit there and say you're wrong to choose that, you're delusional to choose that, actually, that's showing their inner child. That's showing them they believe that they have to be right or there has to be wrong. Why are we judging each other? Why are we judging each other on anything? Why are you judging people for who they would prefer to vote for? Why are you judging people on their behaviour? It's their path. And who are you to decide whether that is right or wrong? Right or wrong is a myth. It's an illusion. It's an illusion that we have lived in since birth. Don't do that. Oh, yeah, you can do that. Oh, no, not like that. Oh, yeah, like that. It's the shackles that have been placed on us in the Matrix. Now, whenever anybody says to me, and you would have heard me speak about this, especially from my mum's perspective, I love my mum so much. She's one of my favourite humans on the planet, quite rightly so. She gave birth to me. So obviously it's very easy for me to be able to share something from my mum's perspective. Now, you guys know I'm against the V program. I'm not, freedom of choice is my stance. It's not that I'm against it. It's all about freedom of choice. I am not interested in somebody saying you must do this, you mustn't do that. This is right and this is wrong. No, what I am interested in is somebody saying, Lucy, what do you feel is the right thing to do for you? Oh, I feel it's this. And that person going, okay, fine. Even if it goes against my values, even if it goes against the core belief system within me, I am going to honour you because you have a right to make a decision for yourself. Now, I have seen people commenting on my YouTube videos, basically being derogatory on people, okay? Making comments, oh, what's your thoughts now? And, you know, I wish I could sit around like that. Now, again, it's the same principle. You are basically saying, you're basically coming from a space of judgment, first and foremost. And if you're judging a total stranger, or if you're judging me, and I am a total stranger to most of you, although you feel like you know me, basically, you are projecting your judgment onto somebody else. And this just goes to show where you are at with yourself. Now, you are one of the people that will have clear rights and wrongs. There can't possibly be a merging of it, or that it's okay for people to want to do different things. Remember, everything that you are speaking, everything. Now, I know I could quite easily go back and put people in boxes very, very quickly and easily, but I'm not prepared to do that. Their stuff is their stuff. If somebody comes to me and says, Lucy, I've had a huge reaction about what you've spoken about there, or I've had a huge reaction to something that happened a while back, and I'd really like to speak to you, I'd speak to those people on message or on voice note or on the phone or whatever to help them step through where it is within them. Because that's my job as a teacher, you know, as a spiritual mentor, that's my job. However, anybody that is prepared to abuse somebody because of their own choice is not the kind of person that... Anybody that chooses to abuse somebody or give somebody a hard time because they have a difference of opinion to what you believe, like that's not a great place to be. That's not a great place to be, and it's certainly not somewhere where I would want to be. I knew all the way along, and if you go back through my videos, you will hear and you will get it. Relinquishing the outcome, the expectation, that is what is going to help us get through what is going on at the moment, and that is ascension for humanity. There is no right, there is no wrong. From your perspective, you will always be correct. Otherwise, you would be doing something different. It doesn't mean that you are actually right, because right doesn't exist. It is an illusion. You are under the spell. If you truly believe that this is right and this is wrong, then, you know, that is an illusion that you are currently living in. It's part of this matrix that has been shadowing us for all of these years. What I would like to say around this right now is that we are all anchoring in whatever it is that we are living. Just think about that. We are anchoring in whatever we are living. If you are living in a space where you are judging somebody, putting somebody down, having disbelief that ascension is possible, disbelief that you are, you know, more powerful than you currently believe that you are, that is going to be the reality that you're anchoring into your cells. For somebody like myself, I am anchoring in the light, the love, the joy, the happiness, the peace, everything that I've already mentioned. I'm anchoring that in because that is where I wish to live. That is where I wish my truth to be. If you are in the lower vibrational things that I spoke about, the control, the disbelief, the judgment, if you are living in those, they are going to take you down a different path. If you are living in the light, that's going to take you down a different path. Like, there isn't two paths that are going to end up in the same place. So this is why I always say it's your choice. From your perspective, your perception, you get to choose whatever it is that you wish for your life. And honestly, if anyone ever challenges you and says you're doing it wrong, you shouldn't be sitting like this, you shouldn't be wearing that, like, it's up to you whether you take that on or not. Because nobody is right or wrong. Who made the rules up to decide what is right and what is wrong? Like I say, we need to know what the dark looks like. We need to see the shadow energy on the planet to be able to say, well, that's not somewhere where I would like to go. For example, like I said, somebody on the addiction path, or you've been in prison for one reason or another, it doesn't mean that you have to stay on that path. It means you say, wow, I needed to see that. I needed to see that. I needed to acknowledge it. I needed to witness it. I needed to walk it so that now I can make my choice. Do I stick with that path, or do I go down a different path? A path where maybe there is happiness and love and joy and peace and calm. Or do I stick with that because that's what I know? And this is what is taking place at the moment. This is really what is taking place at the moment. Most people only know judgment. They only know control. They only know being right, which is why they have a temper tantrum, and they stamp their feet if anybody challenges them. Perceptions and perspective are so key right now. You've got to appreciate, we've got to appreciate that each of us, there is not one other person that thinks like me, not one. Of 8 billion people on the planet, there is not one other person that thinks like me. I will put money on it. So why the hell would I think that people need to believe what I say or do what I say? Just because I look at something to be light, that's from my perspective. Something that I may find dark, like for example, harming another human. Like for me, anybody that hurts somebody, for me, that's dark. That's a shadow energy. That could be words, that could be emotions, that could be physical, that could be food, that could be absolutely anything that you do to another person. To me, genetically modified seeds is abuse. To other people, they don't give a damn about genetically modified seeds. I don't sit there and go, well, you are ridiculous. As my little sisters would say, utterly ridiculous. That's their favourite words. But I don't sit there and judge someone on that. I'm like, okay, cool, we've just got a difference of opinion. However, there are people out there that will be like, you are just damn right rude. You don't know what you're talking about. That's called control. That is called manipulation. That is called you're having an inner child tantrum because you are, you want to be correct. You want to be right. And it's an illusion. It's an utter illusion. Life is not about a party or a set of beliefs. It is about you picking your own path. You sitting in your truth. If somebody tells you you are wrong, it's up to you whether you take that on or not. I go, thank you for your perspective. That's it. That's the best that people will get. I'll say thank you for your perspective, and then that's that. It's done. I am not taking on other people's stuff. I did that for 35 years of my life. I am not prepared to do it now. I am so certain in my truth. Like, I know what I see. I've heard people, recently in the last week putting people down because they were like a real believer in stuff. And then all of a sudden, because something didn't go the way they want it to, like all of a sudden, oh, well, this person's delusional because they believe in aliens, or this person's this because they think they've seen that. Well, how do you know that they haven't seen it? You don't know. You're making an assumption based on what you have seen and what you have witnessed from your perspective. That doesn't mean that you are right. It doesn't mean that they are wrong. Being right or wrong is just an illusion. It is an illusion that the world has convinced you of until this point. It doesn't mean you are actually right or you are actually wrong. If something doesn't go your way, so a bit like Wednesday the 20th, if something doesn't go your way, if you are certain in your truth and you know who you are, you're not going to shake. You're not going to change allegiance. You're not going to go somewhere different. You will stand in your truth and you will say, I trust that this is what is supposed to be happening for humanity. Like for me, for example, because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help humanity ascend. I channeled on Wednesday night or Thursday of last week, which would have been the 20th, 21st. I channeled that humanity wasn't ready. Humanity wasn't ready, which is why a curveball came in. What does that mean? It means that the people that are holding space for humanity and the ascension need to up their game, myself included in that. We need to up our game. If we want to ascend, we've got to make sure humanity are ready for it. There is a lot of people out there that do not believe in a lot of the stuff that's been going on behind the scenes. Like we need to make sure that the belief is there, because if the belief is there, you know, and then when the evidence comes, there isn't going to be so much trauma. And that's what this is about. Remember, this is all about disclosure. This is all about waking people up. 2021 is about disclosure. It's about waking people up. It's about the truth coming out. And I maintain that. It may not be when my ego wants the timeline to be. However, 2021, that is what it's about. We have to hold strong. We have to stay in our truth. And I'm so certain in my truth. Like, I got shown this 3.5 years ago. I'm not somebody that's just jumped on the bandwagon with this and gone, hey, I'm just going to start talking about this. I've been speaking about this since, for 3.5 years. And thankfully, I have many witnesses to that, you know, until my Facebook account got closed down at 25,000 followers. You know, I had many, many people that followed me on that journey. They remember me speaking about this stuff. The truth is coming. Whether we think it's right or wrong is freaking irrelevant. It's irrelevant. This isn't about an expectation or an outcome. It doesn't matter who's in charge. The truth is coming and nothing can stop it. You need to recognize what your truth is. You need to recognize who you are. Because honestly, the powers that be, the people that have been in charge so far on both sides, they haven't shown you how powerful you are. They haven't let you into that little secret of that you are absolutely amazing and that we need you on this planet. No, that's why people are still butting heads. That's why people are still pulling up their inner child energy, having tantrums. I told you were wrong. Oh, I told you not to hang around with these people. Like, I'll never forget, there was a lady and she said to me, don't you dare do another interview with that person again. And I'm like, oh, interesting. That you don't even know me and you feel that you can tell me not to do interviews with certain people. It's very, very interesting, and you might recognise that behaviour in your loved ones. You may recognise that behaviour in yourself. You're telling people to do stuff that, quite frankly, you've got no control over those people, and with all due respect, it's none of your goddamn business. People want to control people that are so certain. They really do. That is the thing. And that is why so many people attempt to put control over me. But I just say thanks for your perspective and I move on. Like, I'm not having stickiness stuck to me. No, thank you. I've got my own energy to deal with. I'm not taking on anybody else's. Being right and being wrong is an illusion. Remember the green tick and the red cross at school? Yeah. That is where this has stemmed from, the educational system. Your parents, our grandparents, they all cascaded this information down. Oh, that is good, that is bad. When you can surrender the outcome and the expectation to any situation, your life is going to change in such a significant way. My recommendation to each and every one of you is surrender. We have to surrender this 3D, 5D matrix that we're in. People that have to be right, they're in 3 dimension. It's as simple as that. If you have to be right, if you cannot see a bigger picture right now, like I'm looking at this from way above the planet and I'm looking down. If you are just looking at things at how they're impacting you, you are living in a very 3-dimensional matrix right now. It's okay. People like myself are working to break that down, and hopefully you will be able to get to see. If you need to be right, if you need to be in control, if you feel like you need to pipe up and give your opinion to people constantly, please know that it's very 3-dimensional. We're breaking it all down. I promise you, it's going to be a much better place where we're going. I'm not saying it's the right place, but I'm saying it's going to be a better place. Less of these low vibrations. So for me personally, I would be advising you right now, grab a journal, start writing down what are the scenarios that you like to be in control of. Are you the kind of person that needs to be right all the time? And if it's not all the time, at what times? Because this will show you your inner healing. This will clearly show you where you are holding on to emotional trauma. Now, a lot of the people who I work with on a one-to-one basis or in my membership program or in one of the group sessions, you know, when we actually look at the scenarios of which they feel they need to be in control, that very clearly shows us the emotional trauma that they're holding on to. It's that level of emotional trauma that needs to be unpicked. People that are constantly, you know, putting other people down, I guarantee that is what they've been brought up with. Somebody put them down, and that is their real deep-rooted emotional trauma. If somebody always, you know, even if you perceive yourself to be right and somebody else wrong, somebody that needs to tell that person. You know, I know when the truth comes out, I am not going to go out to certain people and be like, told you so. I couldn't give a damn. Like, that's not what this is about. For people to actually take the time in their brain and think, I need to go and message that person and I need to tell them this. Like, that is a deep-rooted emotional trauma, like probably from abuse or something like that, that is so deep-rooted in their cells that they literally cannot get over it, especially if it's to a total stranger. If you are somebody that is out there putting out ill feeling and judgments and control and think like behaviours like that, that is where you need to be taking a look and saying, where is this coming from? Why do I feel I need to insult a total stranger? What is that within me? What is it that I hate about me? What is it that I really, it repels me about myself that I see in that person? Because a lot of the time it's jealousy. People are living away, and I first had it when I first got out of corporate. I had a lot of people that hated me because I went from being like this person that was chained to my corporate desk to literally traveling the world intuitively, creating phenomenal business. And it really upset a lot of people. Well, how can you be doing that? That's not fair. But because I was goddamn brave, because I sold the security, and I recognised the only thing that was going to get me to where I needed to be for humanity was going on my soul mission. Have I at times thought that I must have been bonkers? Yes, I gave up a huge, huge 6-figure salary. Absolutely bonkers. And I didn't really know what I was doing at that time either. Now things were a little bit different, but at that time, in 2017, September 2017, you know, people thought I was bonkers. I literally had a phone conversation with my mum this morning, and we were talking about banking and how things have changed and how it's not so secure anymore. And she said to me, like, if you had told me, because I did say to her, Mum, I know the banking industry is going to go. Like, I know, I feel it, I know it. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I've got to get out. She said to me, you're crazy, Lucy. And now she'll say, oh my God, thank God you listened to yourself and not me. It might not ever happen in the timescales that we wish, but we've got to know our truth. Like, and I knew for humanity, I had to get out of that industry. I had to go on this soul mission. I've shared many times in the past, my ex-partner, God bless him, you know, I finished with him because I was like, I don't know what it is that I've got to do, but there's something I've got to do for the planet. And he was like, you are nuts, woman. Like, you are literally nuts. You've lost your marbles. You're quitting a huge 6-figure salary. Like, you know, he was ready to settle down, have babies and all the rest of it, buy a new house and everything. And I was like, I can't do this because I know the planet needs me. And here I am, doing the job that I knew in my cells that humanity needed me for, but I had no clue what that looked like back then. But I trusted, I surrendered. When people were telling me I was batshit crazy, I wasn't going, oh my God, I need to justify myself. I was like, I know that this is right. And this is why when people attempt to insult me or other people like myself, like BT the other day, if anybody tries to insult somebody like us, we're like, whatever. All you're doing is showing yourself where you need to go and heal. All you are doing is judging yourself by judging somebody else. I don't know at what point you guys are going to get this mirror effect. There is no right or wrong. When it comes to politics, when it comes to colours, when it comes to food choices, there is no right and wrong. You literally do you. Do you, boo. As I always say, do you, boo. I'm not here to tell you you're wrong. I'm here to just say you are far greater than you will ever comprehend right now. Trust, surrender, listen to what you love and go do more of that. Now, if if what you love is going and punching people in the face, get into boxing, get into MMA, something like that. Like, channel it into a positive perspective rather than like going and beating people up after pubs close on a Saturday night, you know. Like, think about it. How can you turn that passion into something that the world needs? And with all due respect, you know, let's look at MMA fighters, for example. Look at Conor McGregor. He is, you know, an icon to many kids around the world. An icon. A lot of people don't like him. What's right, what's wrong? I've actually met him in person, and he was a really, really, really nice guy. I met him in Vegas, maybe 2014, 2015, I'm not too sure. One of those 2 years. I met him. You know, my ex-partner didn't even know who he was at the time, and I was like, oh my God. And I stood there and I spoke to him for about 45 minutes. He was the nicest person, like, going. It's all a show that he puts on. But does that mean that I'm right and the people that don't like him are wrong? No, you've got your own reasons, whatever. Is it right to like Chelsea Football Club and hate Manchester United? It's the same principle. You are entitled to your own belief. You are entitled to your own perspective. Doesn't mean you need to go and project it onto other people and like vomit it all over people. Not at all. It doesn't need to be like that. I've gone on a right rant. I love it. Whether you like it or not, we are here to remind humanity that the light is much brighter than the dark. It's as simple as that. There is another option, there is another path, but it's down to you. There are many people that will sacrifice their human existence right now because they have to be, their sole contract is to be part of the V program, you know, the Maxine or the CV thing. That's their chosen path. That is their soul contract this lifetime. That doesn't mean that they're right or they're wrong or they need to be cussed or, you know, have eggs thrown at them or anything like that. Not at all. They are doing their bit for humanity. Just because you cannot see that right now doesn't mean that you need to be projecting your stuff on them. I've been saying to people for such a long time, you have to respect their chosen path. I can't say that I like the fact that my mum had the flu, Maxine. But you know what? She had it. I can't say that I like it, but that's her choice. That's her path. If that's what she chose to do, I have to respect that. I'm not going to sit here and slate her. And, you know, even though initially I was a bit peed with her, I'm not going to sit here and slate her. It's her path. Whatever she decides to do for her soul contract, I have to honour her for that. Like she honours me, and I must drive her potty. Think about it. Think about having a daughter that is so carefree, so full of life for freedom. Like all I care about is freedom. Freedom of choice, freedom of speech, freedom of travel, freedom of like whatever. That's me. Now for my mum, who's very, you know, she likes routine and she likes security. Like I am her worst nightmare, I would imagine. But we both love each other for the path that we're on. She's starting to get the path that I'm on, but I honour her for hers. Remember, if you are judging somebody for their choices, you're actually judging yourself. You're being controlling, and we need to be healing this. We need to be releasing this. And actually, I'm seeing a lot of the spiritual, and I don't really like that word, as you guys know, community, like stepping into this space of judgment, and there is no room for it. Everybody's on their own path. Like whatever they're speaking about, whatever they want to do, that's down to them. It doesn't mean you have to buy into it. This video, long story short, does not mean because somebody chooses something they are right, or if somebody chooses something different that they are wrong. It's an illusion. It is an illusion that we have all been living in this whole time. Think about it, sit on it, write down where you like to be right or if you like to be heard, and you will, I promise you, your healing will be identified very, very quickly. I am going to pop Surrendering to Your Soul video here for you guys to watch. I think they link really beautifully together. I've got so much content flying through me at the moment. There's going to be a lot of videos coming out over the course of, as soon as I've got my internet back, there's going to be lots of videos coming out, so do keep watching, guys. Don't forget to hit subscribe and share this with as many people as you know need to hear this message. Lots of love.